The arena lights burned bright, but even brighter was the tension in the air. Two towering heavyweights stood across from each other, separated by nothing but canvas and destiny. One carried the pride of Australia. The other carried the fire of Nigeria. And when giants collide, only one walks away elevated while the other must rebuild. This wasn't just another heavyweight bout, this was a statement fight. A clash of power, precision, and patience. And by the end of the night, the division would be forced to pay attention to one name louder than ever before: Efe Ajagba. Standing in the opposite corner was a determined challenger from Brisbane, Australia, Joe Goodall, a fighter who had already proven he could upset undefeated prospects and shake up expectations. At 6 feet 5 inches, with long arms and a rugged style, Goodall entered the ring wearing metallic gray and yellow trunks, weighing in at 233.5 pounds. His record showed 10 victories, 1 defeat and 1 draw with 9 knockouts, proof that he carried serious danger in both hands. He had traveled across the world for this opportunity, and fighters don't make that journey unless they believe they can win. Across the ring, in black trunks, stood Ajagba, 237.6 pounds of controlled aggression. With 18 victories prior to this night, 13 by knockout, and experience representing Nigeria in the 2016 Summer Olympics, he wasn't just another heavyweight contender. He was the reigning WBC silver heavyweight champion, and he carried himself like a man who understood exactly what that meant. Calm eyes, relaxed shoulders, no wasted motion. His nickname, the Silent Roller, perfectly described the way he stalked opponents, not loud, not reckless, just inevitable. When the referee called both fighters to the center and instructed them to obey commands and protect themselves at all times, there was a mutual nod of respect. But respect ends when the bell rings. From the opening seconds, Ajagba established what would become the theme of the fight: the jab. It wasn't just a rangefinder. It wasn't just a distraction. It was a weapon. He pumped it with authority, snapping Goodall's head back and forcing him to reset repeatedly. A heavyweight jab can dictate rhythm, distance, and confidence, and Ajagba's was doing all three. Each time Goodall attempted to inch forward, he was met with a stiff, commanding left hand. Goodall tried to respond in kind. He understood that he couldn't simply allow Ajagba to dominate at range. But timing against a fighter with an 85-inch reach is a complicated puzzle. When Goodall fired a single jab from slightly too far out, Ajagba read it instantly and came over the top with a sharp right-hand counter. That punch wasn't wild. It wasn't desperate. It was measured and disciplined, the kind of counter thrown by a fighter who sees the game 2 steps ahead. As the rounds progressed, Ajagba's confidence grew. He began varying the attack. Instead of relying solely on the jab and straight right, he mixed in hooks and uppercuts. The right uppercut in particular began finding a home. Goodall would dip forward, trying to slip inside, and Ajagba would split the guard with a compact, brutal shot that snapped Goodall's head upward. Midway through the fight, the momentum shifted decisively. A perfectly timed uppercut landed flush, and for a brief second, Goodall's legs betrayed him. He looked disoriented, blinking as if trying to clear fog from his vision. Ajagba saw it immediately. This is where champions separate themselves from contenders, not just in landing the shot, but in recognizing what it means. If you're enjoying this breakdown of elite heavyweight boxing action, now is the perfect moment to show your support. Make sure you like this content, subscribe for more fight analysis and highlights, and drop a comment telling us who you think Ajagba should face next. Your engagement keeps the fight conversation alive. Back inside the ring, Ajagba didn't rush recklessly. He stayed composed. He continued working behind that jab, a piston-like left hand that froze Goodall just long enough for the right hand to crash through. That's the beauty of a power jab in the heavyweight division. It doesn't just score points, it disrupts equilibrium. Each time Goodall attempted to reset, Ajagba met him with another authoritative connection. By the third round, the damage was accumulating. Ajagba's punch statistics told part of the story. More than 50 total punches landed in one round alone, with nearly 30 of them coming from the jab. But the real story was written in body language. Goodall's guard began rising higher, his reactions a fraction slower. He was still fighting, still throwing combinations, but the snap in his punches lacked the same conviction. Then came the sequence that defined the fight. Ajagba feinted the jab. Goodall reacted. Ajagba fired the real jab, heavy and direct. Goodall's guard shifted upward to absorb it. In that split second of frozen balance, Ajagba stepped slightly off the angle and unleashed a crushing right hand. The impact echoed. Goodall stumbled back, his legs unsteady. Ajagba closed the distance with surgical aggression, not smothering his work, not panicking, just precise follow-up combinations. Uppercuts, straight rights, each one landing clean. Goodall tried to clinch, tried to buy time, but Ajagba refused to let him tie up. He pivoted, maintained distance, and continued the assault. The referee, seeing the accumulation of unanswered punishment, stepped in and waved it off. Technical knockout. And still the WBC silver heavyweight champion, Efe Ajagba. The victory pushed his record to 19 wins and 1 defeat, further cementing his position as a serious player in the heavyweight division. What made the performance impressive wasn't just the stoppage, it was the maturity. Ajagba didn't rely on wild power shots. He built the finish behind fundamentals. The jab created openings. The right hand exploited them. The uppercut punished attempts to close distance. That's how elite heavyweights evolve. The replay told the story again in slow motion. The jab landed flush, freezing Goodall for just a heartbeat. The right hand followed instantly. The follow-up combinations were disciplined and relentless. Ajagba recognized vulnerability and acted without hesitation. That's ring IQ. That's growth. Heavyweight boxing has always been about power, but the modern era demands more. It demands patience. It demands conditioning. It demands tactical awareness. And on this night, Ajagba demonstrated all three. For Goodall, this fight was a harsh lesson at the elite level. He showed courage and heart, but against a disciplined champion with a punishing jab, small defensive lapses become catastrophic. As Ajagba stood in the ring, absorbing the applause, there was no wild celebration. Just a nod. Calm satisfaction. Another step forward. Another name added to the resume. And the heavyweight division took notice. If you love breakdowns of world-class knockouts, technical analysis, and the rise of heavyweight contenders, don't forget to like this content, subscribe to stay updated on every major fight, and comment below with your predictions for Ajagba's next opponent. Is he ready for a world title shot? Or does he need one more statement victory? One thing is certain, the heavyweight landscape is shifting. And when a fighter masters the fundamentals the way Ajagba did on this night, the future becomes very dangerous for anyone standing across from him. The silent roller is no longer rolling quietly. He's rolling toward the top. The stoppage in the 4th round was not just the end of a fight, it was the beginning of a louder conversation in the heavyweight division. When Efe Ajagba forced the referee to step in against Joe Goodall, he didn't just defend his WBC silver status. He showcased a version of himself that looked sharper, calmer, and far more complete than before. This was not a wild heavyweight relying purely on brute strength. This was a measured puncher building a finish behind fundamentals. From the first round to the final sequence, everything flowed from the jab. That single weapon dictated the pace, disrupted Goodall's rhythm, and created every major opening. Ajagba didn't rush the knockout. He invested in it. Each stiff jab froze Goodall momentarily, forcing him to reset and rethink his approach. When the right hand came over the top or the uppercut split the guard, it wasn't random, it was the result of systematic pressure. By the time the 4th round arrived, the pattern was clear. Goodall had moments of bravery, trying to answer back with combinations and close the distance, but he struggled to solve the reach and timing puzzle in front of him. Ajagba's composure made the difference. He recognized when his opponent was hurt and instead of smothering his work, he stepped slightly off the angle and delivered clean, disciplined follow-up shots. That awareness is what separates a puncher from a finisher. The final exchange told the entire story. A strong jab snapped Goodall's head back. A precise right hand followed. Then came the combinations, sharp, accurate, and relentless. The referee had seen enough. It was the kind of finish that doesn't just win a fight, it sends a message. And the message was clear. Ajagba is evolving. For years, critics questioned whether he could move beyond being just a heavy-handed prospect. Against Goodall, he answered that question with maturity. He mixed levels, added uppercuts, and maintained distance without panicking. He showed patience when earlier shots hurt his opponent, waiting for the perfect moment to close the show decisively. This victory pushes him further into serious contender territory. The heavyweight division is filled with dangerous names, and every step upward brings tougher tests. But performances like this build confidence, not just in the fighter but in the fans watching. Ajagba looked like a man who understands the responsibility of carrying momentum. He didn't celebrate wildly, he absorbed the moment calmly as if he knew this was just one checkpoint on a much longer journey. For Goodall, the defeat is tough but not career-ending. Sharing the ring with a disciplined champion offers lessons that no training camp can replicate. Adjustments in defense, especially against a dominant jab, will be crucial moving forward. Heavyweight boxing is unforgiving, but it also rewards resilience. In conclusion, this fight was a statement built on structure. Ajagba proved that power means more when it is guided by intelligence. He proved that patience can amplify knockout strength. And most importantly, he proved that he belongs in conversations about the future of the division. The silent roller is no longer just rolling quietly through opponents. He is building momentum with intention. If he continues sharpening his skills the way he did in this performance, bigger opportunities will come, and when they do, he may be even more dangerous. This wasn't just another win. It was a controlled demolition that reminded everyone watching that heavyweight boxing still revolves around fundamentals. A strong jab, smart angles, timely combinations, and on this night, Efe Ajagba executed them to perfection.